What is the most beautiful Gundam model kit? Now that is a difficult question to answer. When it comes to Gunpla, there's just so many kits out there of so many different designs, sizes, level of detail, and as they say, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. But what I'm going to be taking a look at today is definitely a contender for the most beautiful Gundam model kit of all time. This right here is the Master Grade Freedom Gundam version 2.0 cross contrast colors clear blue. Just like it says on the front of the box, this is a limited item and was an exclusive at the Gundam base in Japan. Personally, usually I'm not the hugest fan when it does come to kits with clear parts, especially clear color variants. But with this particular kit, and with the cross contrast color line, Bandai has amalgamated the clear parts with regular colored plastic parts, matte parts, pearl parts, metallic parts to really gel them together into something absolutely stunning. Like I mentioned, this right here was a Japanese exclusive, so if you do want one of your own, you can get yours exactly where I got mine, and that is from those awesome people over at Bai. Now let's wind back the clock and get this built. Just one glance at this box is enough to let you know just how special a kit you're in for. The box art is explosive with color, and on the sides of the box we get some images of what this absolutely glacial beast looks like once it is complete. It's a mix of clear blue, various different light blues, highlighted with a little bit of an almost steel aluminium finish. On cracking the box open, you can see that Bandai has followed through on their promise. I've opened tons and tons of Gundam boxes, but none has really looked this kind of almost cohesive and monochromatic as this right here. On top of the nice icy shades of colors we have in here, we also have an interesting sheet of water slide decals, which almost look like cracked glass, cracked ice, or almost like a glowing lightning bolt. Once you take a close look at the plastic, you can see that this is 100% a recolor of the 2016 version of Freedom Gundam, known as the Freedom 2.0. One absolutely stellar kit which I highly recommend that does have one Achilles heel, or should I say Achilles hip. This time though, it's in nice shades of ice blue, powder blue, and clear crystal. When it comes to the build of the Master Grade Freedom Gundam version 2.0 cross contrast colors clear blue, this is essentially 100% as the Freedom 2.0 we would have seen almost 10 years ago in the past. The biggest difference is the colors and the plastics in here do require a little bit of a different approach. We've got a lot of pearlescent colors, as well as translucent clears that are a little bit more delicate than your average Gundam kit, and that does come for the one issue this kit does have, so I'm just going to jump straight on into that. The hips on the Freedom 2.0 are very inclined to break. I mean, like 100% of the time, they are eventually going to break depending on how much you move your kit. So what you really have to do here is just lightly sand the hip pegs before assembly. Not too much or they will get loose and kind of sag around the place. Just a little bit all the way around so they're not too tight once they're attached in. There are some aftermarket metal parts out there if you want to be 100% that this won't break, but I find sanding tends to get the job done fine. Man, for me this kit right here, the Freedom 2.0, really is a blast from the past. It was a kit that I absolutely fell in love with when I first built it. I felt like sometime in the mid-2010s, Bandai just invented some kind of plastic model designing magic that just really ramped up what the kits were like, and this to me almost felt like a little bit of a pinnacle of that technological increase. For me, this particular time was the golden age of Master Grades. We got multiple Master Grade kits a year, 5, 6, 7 plus, and they were all absolutely fantastic. It really was a golden age. No amount of fancy real grades, nice high grades, or Chinese wannabes can ever compare, at least for me. Butter smooth assembly, beautiful part separation, minimal cleanup, they were just perfect. Modern Master Grades are absolutely perfect too, but Bandai really has gone full haul on them. They're huge, tiny little masterpieces with tons and tons of detail, and because they are just so over the top crazy, we tend to only get one, maybe two a year. Maybe it's just the part of me, which is all of me, that is getting old, but I just have such a soft spot memory for those days. Yeah, pretty much absolutely every aspect of this build is fantastic. Besides the fact that the hips can be a little bit funky and you do need to make sure that you sand them in advance, everything snaps together perfect. The build is just so user-friendly, if that's the best word to use. You pretty much clear out runners very quickly. I started the legs usually, so I had runners gone in absolutely no time flat, clearing up your desk so it's not getting too messy. On top of that, I did find that the way the parts are laid out on the runners, they're grouped together. So if you're building a part like the leg or the arm or something like that, you will notice if you have missed a part because it just stands out. It's in the middle of a big empty space on the runner, so you know that's meant to be part of the current part of the build right now too. Very handy if you're blasting on through it relatively quickly. And there we go, the Freedom Gundam version 2.0 cross contrast colors finally complete. A huge reminder for me of, I struggle to use the word better times. I have to say different times when it does come to master grades. So there it is complete. Again, this is 100% physically identical to the standard Freedom Gundam version 2.0, but this contrast version has given it an almost glacial, ice giant kind of feel to it. The majority of the wings are in that clear color and they catch the light nicely, and this is coming from me. I'm not a huge fan of clear kits. I find a lot of the time they kind of lack the overall kind of design aspects that make me like mecha model kits. There's just a part of Bandai making kits in clear colors that makes it look a little bit more toyish, plastic model-y. The fact that you can see into all of the kind of pegs and workings lets you see that it is a model. So if you are appreciating it for the fact that it's a model, that's great. But for me, I like to build model kits of what I believe are giant robots, and they kind of lose that when they are clear. But what Bandai's doing nowadays by adapting clear with non-clear parts, as well as their Mechanicore kits that have paint on the inside of the clear, what we're getting is an almost hybrid. Sure, you can see into some of the elements of the actual model kit, but they feel a little bit more intentional and it still feels like a giant robot to some degree. Anyway, getting the Freedom Gundam into a little bit of a pose, and like I mentioned, the build of these kits really throws me back to a time that I felt that Master Grade was in a little bit of a better place. But the minute I actually start getting this into a pose is when I realize maybe not so much. This is one jiggly wiggly model kit right here, and that was always the case with the Freedom 2.0. Once you get into a pose, it will keep the pose, it will stick there, and it will look absolutely phenomenal, but when you are handling it, it bounces around and bounces around and bounces around. This may be to do with the stand to some degree, but I do feel there's a lot of kind of on the verge of loose joints in this kit, which aren't necessarily loose per se, they just feel like they're almost there, so it wiggles a lot. I will also mention at this point right here, in case I forget to mention it, the stand in here is included too, so it's in that nice frosty ice clear blue. It builds up in the exact same way as one of these stands usually does. These are the best master grade stands out there. They cannot be bought separately. They're not an action base 1, they're like an action base 13 or something like that. This kit comes with a specific cradle for attaching onto the backpack, so it just kind of rests into it, which may also be part of why it wiggles a little bit, but overall, it's beautiful. The wings catch the light so beautifully. Something tells me I might just have to run out and get some more of these cross contrast kits. Jumping on into the accessories now, and because it is Buildmas, I'm going to be just loading up my kit. I'm not going to be going through everything per se. First off, in here we do have a pair of beam sabers, again exactly the same as we would have seen with the standard Freedom 2.0. You can attach them end-to-end Darth Maul style, but what I'm going to do here is just pop off the beams and attach them onto the side skirts. This attachment is absolute arse, by the way. These will fall out all the time, so I recommend sticking a little bit of blue tack in there to hold them in place, otherwise they're gonna go AWOL. Definitely gonna go AWOL. Next up in here we do have a 1/100 scale pilot figure, which is Kira Yamato, again in that nice powdery pearly blue. The shield in here looking very nice in that icy blue too. There's the front and there's the back. I will mention you can see, because of the clear parts, into some of the actual pegs in here, which may or may not be to your taste if you want to see model kit bits or not. From a distance you won't really notice this, and I will mention the little attachments around back on this are a little bit on the finicky side and can pop off. Again, might be golden age back in my brain, but not in reality. Next up in here we've got the beam rifle, once again in these pearly blue colors. We've got a moving handle in the front. The standard handle moves a little bit too, and we do have a nice little bit of clear parts running down the length of it, catching the light nicely. When it comes to holding onto this, the hands in this kit are the type of master grade hands where you do have an articulated thumb and you swap out the fingers. So for holding onto this, you do need the trigger fingers like so. Pops on, holds on decently enough, not perfectly, and you pop into the hand just like that right there. Again, may fall out. Again, maybe not as well engineered as modern kits actually. Lastly then, in here we do have those nice decals. These are almost, like I said, cracks in ice or glass, or a little bit thunderbolty. They have a little bit of a blue outline and some silvering in them as well, so they are very bombastic when it does come to the color. They catch the light nicely and almost crack off a kind of lightning flash. Very, very nice, but sadly today I don't have the time to pop them on, so I'm going to have to put them in storage with this. For a day I've got the time. But yeah, that is it. That right there is the Master Grade Freedom Gundam version 2.0 cross contrast colors clear blue with all of its equipment on, up on its stand, finally in a bit of a pose with those massive beautiful wings spread. Like I said, I've never been a fan of clear kits really at all, but what Bandai is doing these days with some of their kits is making me very clear kit curious. This one mixes the colors together well, uses the clear in an almost ice sort of way. By the way, there is another cross contrast out there of the Justice, and it looks like this. A little bit mustardy. Maybe not quite as classy as this one right here, but again, that always comes down to your own personal preference when it comes to Gunpla. This one's just so icy, catches the light so nice, the clear parts look phenomenal, and the overall color scheme just works nicely. To some it may be a little bit on the monochromatic side, but it's definitely up there as one of the most beautiful Gundam model kits I have ever laid my eyes on. There's a Epion out there as well that I'm considering grabbing because it does look quite nice. And there is another bit of a kind of bluish beautiful Freedom coming out in future. That is the MGEX in this particular white color. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. I'll pop it on the screen. It's like going to be $600 or something like that. Whew, crazy. Anyway, that's another day of Buildmas, build number 27 of 50. Come back again tomorrow and I'll build another one. Bye-bye. As always, this video right here and every single video I make would not be possible without each and every one of you guys who watches this video. And special thanks at the end of this video right here to those who support on the channel memberships as well as over on Patreon, including Caleb Engelhart, Joe, OG59061, Scotty Thomas, and Simon.